This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Recorded show today. It is the week before the week of the 4th of July. I'm actually at home. If you listen to yesterday's show, my mom had a birthday on July 1st, and I was saying it's been a number of years since I've been home on her birthday. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be home for my mom's, I think she's 76th birthday on July 1st, and then head up to the Bassmaster Open on Lake St. Clair the following week. So recorded show. So while we're recording this, it is actually during the BPT stop on the James River. One of the stops that I've been really looking forward to watching fish a couple opens. They're a very dynamic fishery with a lot of different options. And if you know how that format works, you know, the first two qualifying rounds, you have Group A and Group B, and then they have an off day in between the two groups this year before a lot of format changes go into effect next year. But one of the cool things is there's a lot of guys who travel with their families, and this is cool what I'm about to bring in, because I remember when I started fishing with Freddie, and we fished fish and chips, and we'll never forget the time he called a 4-card straight to win it for us. And it actually cost us about 10 grand, but hey, I mean, that's the fish and chips championship. But back then I remember, he has Jackson and Avery, his two boys. And Jackson, they lived in Oklahoma at the time, and he was just a little dude. And he was down at the pond in the subdivision that they lived at, and he was always stealing Fred's boom boom frogs. I don't know if he still has that frog that had like the fur patch on the back. I think that was during that time. Like he had like the frog fur on it. And he would be down at the pond. He's just like 6, 7 years old. And now he's like winning tournaments. He's running the boat. I could see him scoping right now. And they're in Virginia on their off day fishing. So we're going to bring Fred and Jackson Roumbanis in. And there they are. Thanks for jumping on BTL.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? Good to see you.
Good to see you. And Jackson, thank you for also jumping on BTL. I mean, I could tell by the way you're fishing stuff, you got the thing pretty much dialed in. And you get to pretty much fish all over the country too. So you got pretty good best of both worlds.
Oh, it's awesome. I get to see about every other lake. I mean, not every other lake, every state and how it fishes. I mean, I've probably done that before I was 16. So
yeah, come in a little bit closer, so just so we get better audio.
All right, yeah.
Fred. All right, yeah. So I also just had Bo Browning on, who's Stephen Browning's son, and you got Alton Jones Jr., who's like setting the world on fire on the BPT. And this year I've had Britt Myers Jr. on, who's now fishing the Invitationals, and then you got Laker Howell, who's fishing the Invitationals and the Opens. Like, I mean, you got to be next, right, Jackson?
Man, that's the goal right there. I want to fish next year. And
Whoops. Sorry, I better hold it.
Yeah, I just hold it, Freddie.
All right, there we go.
So what's the goal?
Man, I want to fish for a living. That's been my goal since I was little. I've always wanted to be a professional fisherman, and I'm gonna shoot for it. I mean, so many of my friends, you know, who's the sons of professional fishermen, like you just mentioned. I mean, I've grown up with them. And I want to be like them. I want to fish tournaments, and I want to compete on the top level.
How old are you now? Are you 17?
Yeah, I just turned 17 last month.
And you won that massive kayak tournament when you were 15?
I was 15 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, outside of, like, I would say Alton Jr.'s BPT win, that's probably, like, the next biggest win there. Now, let me ask you this, Jackson. Do you feel any pressure being the son of an angler, because it's like Freddie's kid? And I always think that's kind of a weird dynamic. Or do you think that it's an advantage or a disadvantage to get compared to your dad, or not?
I always feel like I get a little bit of pressure, like doing the high school tournaments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's overall been an advantage. I mean, it's cool whenever kids are like, "Oh man, Jackson's here," and I'm like, "That's pretty cool." Like, I'm just another kid out there trying to fish, and I mean, I've had probably one of the best teachers, the best teacher I could ask for, and I mean, it's just fun being able to compete on just a couple different levels. Like, so I fished a kayak tournament, the high school tournaments, Toyota series, the BFL, and I mean, it's cool being able to have such a good learning on all the fisheries and also be able to make my name for myself.
What is that like for you, Fred? Because I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you still feel like a big kid, but what is it like to have a 17-year-old that wants to kind of follow in your footsteps and do what you've done in this industry?
I mean, honestly, I couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, it's kind of like a dream come true in a way, I mean, just since he was little, just taking him on the road and letting him experience, all these different fisheries. We've always either gone to an event early or stayed after and fished lakes around, the tournament venue, just to keep them on the water and get them fishing. And
Mm-hmm.
they're waiting on me for a week-long event. The least I could do is take them out fishing, right? So they've always looked forward to the summertime when they get out of school and they get to come on the road. And that's basically what we're doing this week. Here we are at James River event. Jackson got out for summer, and we threw the kayak on the truck, and he's been launching me, and he takes the kayak and goes to these lakes. And one of the days that I was out there practicing, I was kind of catching some 1.5-pounders, 2-pounders, nothing great. And he sends me a picture of a 5-pound spotted bass, and I'm like, thinking to myself, I don't even know if I've ever caught a 5-pound spotted bass outside of California. We used to catch a lot of big ones there, but a 5-pound spot, other than that one I lost with you on the crankbait at Grand Lake, that was a 4 probably, but I don't.
Oh, I forgot about that one. We tried to
You
tried to boat flip a state record spotted bass.
Yeah, I was a big one.
You didn't hear about that one, Jackson?
I have not heard about that,
dude. So we're in Fish and Chips, and like, dude, you know how your dad fishes. It's are you like, is your tournament strategy a little bit more organized than what I remember Fred's was? Because Fred was he's always fished very instinctually. So if that means you got to run 15 minutes to fish one spot and then run 12 minutes back to the spot you just passed, he's going to do it when he's fishing good. You know what I mean? Is that a fair assessment of your strategy, Fred?
Yeah, pretty much.
It worked for him. So, I mean, I can't judge him for that, I guess.
So
this format, it kind of hurt me yesterday because I ran more than I fished yesterday, and I'm still in the hunt, but it's like, man, I should have just slowed down and fished a little bit more. But that's what we got tomorrow for.
But you were cranking docks, I remember, and I vividly remember this. We were in Rapier Hollow, weren't we?
Yeah. Yep.
And you were throwing a deep diving IMA, and
just winding it,
and like loads up, and he's like, I got one. And I mean, this thing comes up, and I kid you not, Jackson, between 4.5 and 5 pound spot?
Yeah, it was a big one. It
was the biggest spot I've ever seen in my life. And we both went, spotted bass. And we're in the Fish and Chips. There isn't. That's what's crazy.
Oh.
and it comes up, and Fred makes a judgment call, and the thing gets halfway over the gunnel, and the line breaks.
Oh,
and it kind of slides down the gunnel and then back in the water and then comes up and tail walks and is gone.
It has
it was a little heavier than I thought when I went to swing it, I think, too. I mean, I knew it was giant, but yeah, can't really rewind history and land that one.
Dude, that was some of the greatest times of my life, was fishing the Fish and Chips with you. I appreciate it. But
we had so much fun, bro. That was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I lost you as a partner. You'd have to. Well, no, you have to be, I think, 18 to gamble if we did the poker stuff.
Well,
if we brought it back.
I remember the next year after my 4-card mishap, straight. The next year, you're like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We caught him fishing. I think we were second place in the fishing part.
Yeah.
Poker, you said, I don't care if you have a pair of aces, you hold them. You do not play a hand at all. So I sat there and never played a hand. And just let it go round and round.
And we filched it a second.
And then I was like, I got to play or I'm going to run out of chips. So finally I played a couple risky ones and won them. and then it turned out to be a pretty good poker tournament. Split the pot
Yeah.
with
We
Fred.
we finished
With
second in
the other
that
Fred.
event, I think, 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Won 10 grand in each one of those. But
That was
anyway,
fun.
I
We did
digress. All right, Jackson, what is Fred? And then I'll let you get back to fishing and interview your dad. But and I'm gonna ask Fred. I'm gonna ask you the same thing, Fred. But Jackson, what is your dad, in your opinion? What is the best part of his game?
Man,
The fishing game.
I think the consistency. No matter what we're doing, he's consistent. He can call his shots, and I always thought that was so cool. Like I don't know, he has so much knowledge. I guess because he's done this for I don't even know 20, 30 years. So I'm probably 20 years, and he has that consistent knowledge of being able to find fish when they're needed, and I always thought that was probably the coolest thing. Is he can be like, yeah, go run up to that point and go throw a swim bait. Really, Dad? And then go up there and catch one. It's like, I guess it's that instinctiveness to go and fish his strengths, and I thought that's always been the coolest part.
Nice. And Fred, what is Jackson's strongest part of his game?
The kid's got a knack for big bass. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, he's so good at scoping, for one. I mean, he's already figured all that out, but that's not his only skill. His sorry, am I moving the phone?
No, you're good.
He's a natural. There's a lot of people out there that are good because they work really hard, and then there's anglers out there that just get it. Mm-hmm. And Jackson just gets it. Whether he's fishing inches of water or 30, 40 feet offshore, deep, and he blends the technology and the power fishing very well, and that's what's going to take him so far in the sport.
I like it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I want to talk to you about some crazy stuff that's been going on with your career, Fred, and some awesome overcoming adversity. But you got to keep it so we can see Jackson in the front. So we're gonna get it on the water fishing while we interview you, and I feel like that's the best of both worlds.
That's it right there. I'm gonna hold the phone kind of like that so you can see him fishing.
Perfect. All right. First of all, what are we going with? You're obviously not on the James River. You're on another body of water in Virginia. Like I said, BPT going on this week. So just kind of fill the viewers and listeners in onto what Jackson's kind of keying on and what type of fishery you guys are on your off day.
So originally, Jackson's been kayaking a lot of these lakes, and we got a call today from Chris Shangle wanting to do some video work, and so we came out to this lake. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's a smaller little lake. What's the name of the lake, Jack? We don't even have a clue where we're at.
That's fine.
But anyway, it's clear water. It's got the whole bank's kind of lined in that water willow, and it's kind of a deep ledge water willow. So the fish are out on the edges, but then there's these long points, and there's bait. A lot of schooling bait out here. And so what Jack's doing right now is he's actually using his live scope, and he's just trying to pick them off as he sees them.
I like it. All right, let's go back a month. You are headed to the Chowan River, correct?
Yep.
You're headed. Well, we're hooked up. We're hooked up. Jackson's hooked up. I heard the drag. Walk us through it. What are we dealing with?
Man, a giant.
Oh.
A nice one.
Running towards you as fast as he could.
I will say this while we were setting this up. Fred's like, I gotta go, and you smoked like a
Look at Jackson's
stick.
knuckles. Don't look at his knuckles.
That's from going down and catching actually on that dock right there. That was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I had him jump in the water to land a fish for me because he got caught in there. So that's a good thing about
while we were setting this up, Fred was like, "Oh my gosh, I got a giant!" And this is the photo he sent me. He smoked a 6, and that looks like it was on the Yamatanuki.
Yeah, it sure was. It was on the Yamatanuki. It was pretty awesome. Made a long cast against that water willow up kind of on the edge of a dock, and my line jumped. And I was on the phone with you. And I'm like, I gotta go. I got a big one on. And it was a 6 pound even. We weighed it with the Bubba scale.
All right, so back to it. So you're on the way to the Chowan River, coming off of a top 40 finish at stage 4, and disaster strikes.
Yeah, I was driving on I-40. Life is good. I'm leaving a day early. I like to get to these lakes a little bit early just to kind of, set up shop, or, in case something ever happens. It's always good to just be there. And I was probably 10 miles from the hotel I wanted to stay at, and kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I got struck from behind by a drunk driver. Kind of threw my boat off the trailer into the interstate and drove me off course off the side of the road. So here I am, 9:30 at night, looking at big trucks drive by and my boat in the interstate, going, what the heck am I going to do now? Something you don't really plan for. It's it was very upsetting, to be honest with you, obviously. And I'm kind of in shock. I felt the jolt. I mean, that guy had to have hit me at 100 miles plus. I'm cruising around 70, and the force and the impact completely crumbled the trailer, the boat in the interstate. Found out I got frame damage to my truck at home. So, yeah, we've got my back hurts. I mean, it's just a lot. Like, it's been rough. I mean, I didn't know what to do, and out of kind of just thought process, I had a trailer issue one time on the road, and I called Duke Jankel from our Phoenix boat.
Yeah, I know Duke. I know Duke for years. He's a great dude.
Amazing guy. Saw him this morning, and I gave him a call and I told him what happened. He said, "Well, hold on, just hang tight. I'll get right back with you." And this is like as I'm waiting for them to come assess the situation on the side of the interstate. I get a call from Teresa Johnson, one of the owners of Phoenix Boats, and she said, "Well, don't you worry, we'll get you a boat tomorrow." And I'm thinking, how in the world? Like, okay, but she definitely just made me feel better about everything. She said, "Just get you a hotel, we'll get you a boat. Try to get all your stuff out of that boat. That's your job. Just get everything out of that boat, and we'll get it figured out." So they towed my boat off, and I went and got a hotel room. I didn't even finish the police report till 1:30 in the morning. So the thoughts of everything going on, I never even slept, even though I did get a hotel room. I called her at 7:30 in the morning thinking, gosh, I was just on the phone with her at 11:30 at night. Is this, smart to call her this early? And she said, we're working on it right now. And thankfully they had a couple boats in stock. They had one very similar to the one I was running, an XE 21 footer with a 250. And they had Michael White, who was working the All-American event, actually was at Blastoff. He left there and went to the factory, picked up the boat. Gosh, everybody over there, Tim, Brian, Jeff, the whole crew, they rigged it as fast as they could with everything to be prepped for Garmin. So I went to get my boat, pulled my, graphs off the other boat, got my MillerTech batteries out, and we worked on that boat till about 10 p.m. that night. Practice starts next day. We have a 5.5 hour drive to the Chowan, knowing I'm probably not going to get to practice first day of the tournament. I wasn't too worried. I was just so thankful to have a boat brought to me. And we get there, we meet with Danny Miller of Garmin. He helps rig it about 3:30 in the afternoon. Again, I really hadn't slept much because there's just so much going on in my mind, right? And we get there, I get out on the water right now. I put the boat in, and I'm like, okay, I got 4 hours to break this thing in. I'm just going to run around and drive it around. Well, I forgot to put fuel in the boat. I mean, kind of, just a minor thing.
That's a vintage Freddie move.
Yeah, so I had to, like, it won't start. Something's wrong. Well, kind of need to put fuel in it. So I pulled it off the water, got gas, ran it up and down the Schwann. Actually stopped at the first, like, kind of significant looking cypress tree that looked good to me. And at first cast, I got a bite. And I was like, oh, cool. Ran around a little bit, got a few bites. Then I just kind of like saw what looked good, and just kind of winged it during the tournament. Started real close. They had an event going on the day that I was rigging the boat, so I was like, well, they obviously released some fish around here. I'm gonna start close and just work my way up the Schwann. And by the end of the day, the first day, I was all the way at the borderline of where we were allowed to fish. It was super glass calm out. It was smooth. I was able to cover a lot of water and had a great day, and secured myself in the top 10 that day, and just kind of stayed in it all week long. So it turned out to be a really good event under crazy circumstances. We're still waiting on insurances and stuff. I don't really know the outcome of this whole situation. Um, it's looking like his insurance company isn't the greatest, or he didn't have the greatest coverage. They may be a great company, I don't know, but the coverage isn't. We're gonna have to use my insurance, which kind of sucks. But
I hear
we're
you.
gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it, and you know what? Everything's replaceable. Nobody was seriously hurt, and we're here to fish. So I'm here to watch.
The crazy thing about that, Freddie, was you ended up with a 10th place finish out of that event, one of your best BPT finishes on it. And I mean, that had to just be a crazy week. You earn $16,000. You do a world of good for yourself. And then, since then, you finished 20. You're currently in the top 30 in this one after one day. But like, to do that and then pop off a top 10, it's weird how many stories you hear of professional anglers who something goes wrong. They have some sort of mechanical issue, something happens on the road, they miss days of practice, something, and then they go out and they just smoke the derby. I think there's got to be something to just fishing instinctual, fishing free, not worrying about what's going on the water, and just letting the skill and the experience take over. Are you on board with that theory as well?
Dude, it 100%. There's something about fishing and doing it, as long as we've done it, to where you actually build like a muscle memory. I know it sounds crazy. Think of other sports muscle memory, like throwing a football or just making, just repetition, stuff like that. But in fishing, you kind of have the same thing when you have an overload of outside things go on. So you just fish, like you said, instinctually and out of like a muscle memory. And that's all I did is I just picked up a couple of rods and stuck with it. I didn't overthink anything. And it's funny because I wish I could do that every tournament. Not getting a wreck or anything like that, but just fish that way.
Yeah.
I think too much a lot of times, I think a lot of us do. And it does hurt us. I think the biggest thing is just stay simple and stay focused and fish. And that's all I did that week. I just kind of stuck with the program, fished everything that looked good, and just had fun. I was thankful to be alive, thankful to be out there fishing, and just enjoying every minute. Because something like that, if my Phoenix wasn't attached to my trail, to my truck, that guy could have killed me. I mean, honestly, coming that fast behind me and hit just the truck, who knows what could have happened. So, just kind of gave me a peace of mind that, hey, everything's going to be all right.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more with Fred and Jackson Roumbanis. It's BTL on a Tuesday. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Fishing isn't just a hobby, it's an obsession. Whether it's blazing hot or bitterly cold, bright sunshine, raining, or even snowing, someplace, somewhere, there's a fish that's ready to bite. And as the angler, you need baits that will catch the fish anywhere, anytime, no matter the conditions. From throwing topwaters to cranking the depths, know the baits to throw. Choose Spro.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
All right, welcome back, BTL. Talking with Freddie Boom Roumbanis out fishing with his son Jackson on the water during his off day of the MLF event up there in Virginia, James River. And I want to get your take on this, Freddie, because man, you're in an interesting position. I'm gonna mute you here right there with the points and things like that. I know MLF going to 65 next year. Just kind of talk about with I guess 2.5 events left in your season, your kind of thought process, and do you guys know exactly how this is all going to shake out, kind of going into the switch next year to the 65 anglers?
You know, that's a really good complex question. I've got a lot of things going on right now as far as what I want to do, what I plan on doing, but also what this kid right here wants to do. He's got the talent. He's, obviously doesn't know the lakes. He's gonna have a lot to learn there, but I'd like to coincide with do what he wants to do as well. So, I love this format. I love Major League Fishing. So don't get me wrong on any of what I'm going to say here. There's been so many changes over the years from 1 pound minimum to, going to different changes to no one talking to anybody and then getting anglers working with other anglers. And if you notice, I really excelled when you weren't allowed to talk to anybody. Everyone had to stick to their own program. It was unlimited fish. It was, it was a 1 pound minimum. It was catch all you can. They just kept changing every year. It just gets, it's throwing my game off. I'm not going to lie. Like it really does. Cause I still like to do my own thing. I don't like to really work with other anglers. And it's nothing against them. I love all the anglers. We're family, right. But I can't have those other thoughts in my head of what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing. I just do what I know. And, I feel like it's, and then going to a 5 fish limit we did last year, then we go back to unlimited. It's a lot. It's a lot for me to, I feel like it's hurting my overall performance. And, I just don't know what I want to do as far as that. I want to make that top 65, but if you're going to cut down to 50, I'm also the last couple of years, knowing all this stuff, I feel like I'm fishing for my career and instead of fishing for the fish, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of stress, a lot of added, I don't want to be worried next year if I make, fish the top, they're going to make another top 50 cut. I don't know how that all works. I really don't understand it all. So it's hard for me to say that. I promise you this, I will be fishing. And if I have to take a step back, I'll be fishing to move right back to the top platform, whatever it may be. So I know that's his ultimate goal right here. And I want to be where the opportunities are and where my sponsorships want me to be. Because ultimately, I'm promoting sponsors that support us and take care of our family, but we got to be able to sell products for them too. So there's a lot to be thinking about.
Yeah. One of the things
that makes sense.
No, 100%. One of the things that I've always admired about you in this industry is the longer you do it, the more jaded I feel like you tend to get, where guys like have, I'll just say it, they bitch and moan a lot, but you've always been able to have a very positive attitude. It seems like you always see like the bright side of things. Is that something that you work on? Do you ever get down, or is that just like built into your DNA to always be kind of a happy-go-lucky, positive guy?
Well, I think, I had a great childhood. Don't get me wrong. We did not have tons of money growing up. We didn't have, so for me to even just be sitting here on a bass boat, with my kid right now is something that I'm just forever thankful for. And I feel like everything's just been an absolute blessing from above. And I'm just thankful every day. And I think having that thankful attitude just keeps me happy. And, really just, you can't let negativity and stuff like that bring you down. I enjoy what we do. And even the bad days, you can always find some good in it. And I think we should all have a little bit of that in us, a little bit more. I see a lot of negativity out there on social media and stuff, and I try to tune it out. I got to be careful what I say, because I see stuff that
no, that's good.
But
I want to get back to sufficient stuff, Fred, because there's a couple of things that you do and that you have done. Holy cow, it's like 15, 20 years ago now. Yeah, you have been doing this a while. But the first is you were one of the first like kind of big bait guys. We've done BTLs before where you talk about throwing, was it the AC for stripe, like taking the striper stuff out in California,
AC plug,
throwing the AC plugs for the giant bass and all that stuff. Have you noticed I find it interesting, like the resurgence of like the big baits on both the Elite Series and the BPT, but it seems now like there's more younger guys throwing the 7, 8, 9, 10-inch glides in tournaments than there ever was before. Is that something that you've kind of noticed too, where you're like, dude, I've been doing this for like 25 years?
Yeah, I love it though. I love seeing that. I think it's exciting. All the baits coming out. I mean, you could look at that old AC plug that I used to fish tournaments with back in the early 2000s, and how generic it looks compared to some of these, other glide baits and stuff like that out there. Now that bait, I actually worked that more as a giant wake bait in a topwater, but there's definitely a huge following with that stuff, and I love seeing it. It works, and I've always known it worked. I've died on it probably more than I've had success, but when I did land on a couple big ones in a tournament, it always carried me. Big fish, I think, have carried me further than just even some of the consistency that that it appears to be. It's just it's always been carried by a big bite.
And then
probably
the other
on a
thing,
big bait.
that's true. So the other thing I want to bring up, and this brings Jackson in a little bit too. So it seems like guys who are able to make this last in their careers, and I'm thinking, Skeet, you could throw Boyd with his classic fish that he flipped up in the last day. They have like a critical career defining moment that like goes their way, and they're able to capitalize on it. And for you, I feel like that was that fish in the major, right? When you won the major, and you credited that to the baby pattern, the baby mojo. Julie was pregnant with, or just had Jackson, like when you won that $250,000 major, right?
Right. Crazy, huh? I mean, it is. I actually, here's something funny. This is something that nobody knows. I actually got in a wreck in Oklahoma before I even left. A car T-boned me, but hit me right at the back between the boat and the truck. Totally totaled his vehicle. But I was able to still tow out to High Rock in North Carolina, of all places, to win that tournament. So that's just kind of funny, because it just happened. I was in North Carolina 2 weeks ago and got in a wreck. But Jackson. No, it's not funny I got in a wreck, but Avery, my youngest, he messaged me and says, remember when you were looking at that armadillo and you stopped in the middle of the intersection? Because I'd never seen one of them before, and I was in Oklahoma back in 2007. But Julie was pregnant. Jax was about to be born. She's like, go ahead. I said, okay, well, I'm going to try to fish this, but if, something comes up and I'm going to come home, and it just worked out. And we won that tournament, and I made it home still to be there for the birth of Jackson. And 1 year later, I won another elite tournament at Lake Murray, throwing a frog. So there's been a baby pattern, but it's also been a May pattern, and that's, late May, early June. So it seems like that's my best time of the year.
And then that major that you won, I mean, that was back in 2007. And I'm not saying that the drop shot, but like you look at how a lot of these tournaments are being won now, and you kind of relied on a drop shot in that event all the way back in 2007 to get that major done. And now it seems like you can't catch a fish unless it's a drop shot. But there is a big gap there where, like, I mean, when you did it, it wasn't, I mean, not everybody was doing that back in 2007, Fred.
No, I was doing that. I was nail weighting Senkos, wacky rigging. We called them Iz rigs before the Nico. I mean, there's just a lot of
Is that
things
what
we
Jackson's
did.
throwing right now? Is he throwing a drop shot?
Yeah, he's throwing a drop shot.
Oh my gosh, this is such a full circle interview, Fred.
What's that?
This is such a full circle interview.
It really is, isn't it? It's wild. It's wild. That he's actually throwing what I pretty much won that tournament, except a little bit different color.
Yeah, just
it's still a 6-inch worm, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's very similar. It's so funny. So funny. You know, fish are fish, I guess, and there's a lot of cool techniques out there, and a lot of cool baits out there. But yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you got to go with what works.
All right. Sponsorship wise, you always seem to be like you've got some sponsors that really stand by you. A lot of signature series products. Just talk a little bit about, you got anything that you're working on now or anything that that's coming out at ICAST here in a couple weeks?
Well, you know, we're working on something with the Frog Factory. We've got a new bait coming out, but I don't think we're going to be able to release it quite yet. You know, a lot of these baits just take so much trial and error. We want to make sure we get this thing 100% right before we put it on the market. You know, I've always loved doing baits and stuff, but I always want to make sure. And you know, a lot of times you put something out too soon, then you got to be like, oh my gosh, we got to fix this. We don't want that problem. So, yes, Frog Factory with GSM. I'm so fortunate to be a part of that GSM family right now. They've taken me in. I'm still with Matt Pano and Optimum and IMA and all that. So, you know, we've been very fortunate with sponsors. I mean, the biggest thing I could tell people with sponsors is just stay loyal to them. You know, a lot of companies get bought out, and we've had to move around and get shuffled, but for the most part, you know, we've been very fortunate when it comes to sponsorships, and you know, so.
Are you still gonna have the frog fur on the new frogs, Freddie?
Well, yeah. I mean, the frogs that they've released are the same frogs we've had before, but we are gonna have a pro model come out that may or may not have frog fur.
Okay. I don't want to get you in trouble here. Sorry.
But we got something else coming out that's totally different, and it's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, you'll love it.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'm going to let you get back to fishing with your boy. You guys have well, heck, you're about to hit the golden hour. You still have quite a few hours before. What's your best 5 go today?
How much weight are we sitting at right now?
Like 18 pounds. Well, really, we're at like 16 pounds for 3 fish.
We got 16 for 3.
That's
I
strong.
caught a 6. He caught a 5.2.
Yeah, and I caught a 4.14.
And a 4.14. So there's basically
16 pounds on the dot.
16 pounds on the dot.
So who runs
we did catch a couple of 3-pounders in the mix too. So
we forgot the way.
So yeah.
Who runs the show? Like, do you let Jackson run the trolling motor and stuff, or are you still the captain of your own vessel?
I pretty much let him do it while we're fishing together, just because, for one, I get to fish all day tomorrow on the James, and
I got
I've been rigging tackle. I've gone through, re-spooled, retied, and got everything ready for my event tomorrow. And in the meantime, he's been out here fishing and jacking them, so it's fun. Jackson jacking them.
What's Avery up to these days?
So Avery's man, he's actually at Bible camp this week. I think he gets back tomorrow, but he is full sports. He's in 2 basketball leagues and summer football. So yeah, he's trying out for quarterback next year. Pretty exciting for 7th grade. He's just an incredible athlete, and it's fun to have, the one fish and one we can go watch play sports. So it's kind of best of both worlds.
Heck yeah. And then I also seen on social media, don't you guys have like 7 dogs now or something?
Well, my cousin, when he goes back to California, we watch his dogs. He's got 3.
Okay.
Or does he have 3 or 2? No, he's only got 2 now, but we got 3. So we live kind of in the country, and I don't know if people just dump dogs or what the deal is, but man, they come up and we, you make the mistake of feeding them, and you end up with more dogs than you expect. But right now we're sitting with 3 dogs. We gave one away, and yeah, it's just good. You know what though? We live in the country. We've got a gravel road. If any car or delivery gets, comes up our driveway, we know.
Yeah,
they let us know. And
Jackson, you remember fishing that subdivision pond you used to live in, right? Like the one where Fred would come back and you would dump whatever you'd caught just fun fishing that day in that pond. So literally it was like a little subdivision pond, and you might like catch a 4-pound smallmouth on top water, a 3-pound spot on a fluke, and then like a 6-pound largemouth on a Texas rig. It was the most yoked subdivision pond in the history of Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's smallmouth and spots in there though.
He caught a white bass one time on a frog in there. I don't know how that white bass got in there.
No, Fred's not talking about how any of that stuff got in there.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
There must have been like an underground aquifer that was like connected to one of the nearby fisheries.
I will say we did put a 30-something pound catfish in there one time. So there was
wild.
Catfish Hunter. But yeah, no, that was a good time. But you know what? Living in the country, I think he enjoys it a little bit more. We got our own pond now, and
I feel like he's on one based on his body language right now. Jackson is definitely dropping on a keeper right now.
Smoke it.
Are you on one?
Yeah, I just had one come up and absolutely smoke it. It looked like a good one too.
Can you find it again?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. It's really weird. This lake, like, it has so many fish in it, but they're all like microscopic. Like they're all like tiny shad and stuff.
Yeah.
You'll look in the shad, and all of a sudden you'll just see one big dot in it.
I mean, no pressure, but I'd like to end the interview with like a 4-pounder.
Oh, that would be the way to end it right there.
All right, I'm gonna let you get back to fishing, Fred. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, good luck tomorrow, man.
All right, I appreciate it. See ya.
All right, see you guys. All right, that is Freddie Boom Roumbanis. Like I said, a little bit of recorded shows, a couple days ahead of what it actually is, but I wanted to get him on when he had the opportunity, and really cool to see how much his son Jackson really loves and enjoys fishing. But so I wasn't trying to put it on the spot there. What I was trying to bring up was with both bass and MLF, I think there needs to be more clarity on where anglers stand at all times when it comes to their requalification process. And I'll explain why. We're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, I'll explain why I think that is just a necessity for both organizations to know where their anglers stand in the standings and what they have to do or not do to either qualify or stay qualified or get cut from, regardless of which organization they're fishing with. So it's BTL. We'll be back right after this.
In 2023, we became a household name in the crappie fishing world thanks to Power Breaks, the game changer. Hey, bass fishing world, buckle up, because you're next. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the next evolution of our product line, Power Breaks Sidekick, designed to install right on your shallow water anchors. We are the first and only fishing brake company to offer a breakaway system. Just like with the Game Changer, the Power Brake Sidekick has it as well. And it's not a matter of if you're going to need it, it's when. Power Brakes, the most durable fishing brakes available on the market today. Made right here in the USA with our rock-solid 2-year warranty. Hey, not all fishing brakes are built equally, and you owe it to yourself to find out why ours are different. Power Brake Sidekick. Order yours today at mypowerbrakes.com.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFCO. Any fish, any water.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Gamakatsu, the innovation leader in fish hooks, is launching Nano Alpha technology in 2024. Nano Alpha is a new finish available on Gamakatsu's most popular hook styles. It delivers 2 times slicker performance, 4 times better corrosion resistance. Nano Alpha technology makes the world's greatest fish hooks even better in 2024 to help anglers catch more fish.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
All right, welcome back, BTL. Before the break, I said I think both MLF and Bass, I'm not knocking either one of them. It is what it is. But I talk to a lot of anglers. It's my job. It's how I make my living, is to talk to professional bass anglers, interview them. And we talk a lot, behind the scenes and off air. And one of the recurring themes that I've heard over the last couple years, especially with changes in requalifying, with you're dropping years, you're not dropping years, you have anglers that are switching leagues as to where the points are, where they're not. And I've talked to them, I'd say equal number on both the Bass Pro Tour side and the Elite Series side. And there's a segment of anglers that are in the, and I'll say this, in the danger zone, where at the point of the year where we're at right now, they're in the part of the points where if they finish strong, they have a decent finish, they're good to go for next year. They're above the cut line for possibly getting cut. But if they have a mediocre or bad remaining 2-3 events, there's a chance that they will be cut from either the BPT, which is going to 65 in 2025, or the Bassmaster Elite Series, which will cut 9 anglers, I believe 8 or 9 anglers after the 2024 season, bring them back down. Now, to get to those anglers that are cut, there's a convoluted system of however many years you've been in. Some anglers get to drop. If you're a rookie, you get a second year on the Elite Series, I know, at least. But I've talked to these anglers on both sides, and there are quite a few that are concerned. They're worried. They don't know what they need to do in order to stay on it. I'm a big golf fan. I know I have a couple Corn Ferry Tour golfers that listen to BTL as well. But one of the cool things that I like at the end of every golf season is when you have the event where the angler where the golfers know what score they need in order to maintain or keep or lose their tour card for the following season. It'll come down to a guy who has to make a 7-foot putt to either get full exemption, or he's got to go back to Q school, or he's got to go down to the Corn Ferry Tour. But those golfers know after every event and going into it where they stand on that line as far as getting cut or as far as requalifying for it, what they have to do that week to stay inside that cut. And there's a list that the fans can also go follow and listen to too. And it baffles my mind that at the top level, like there is no top level above the Bass Pro Tour and the Bassmaster Elite Series, that you cannot go on to either one of these websites and click on it and say, here's exactly how you qualify, how each point is gotten, where everyone stands, who has exemptions, who doesn't. And there's a line where it says these anglers right now, if the season was to end today, are getting cut. This is how many points out they are. This is what they have to do to stay in. And these anglers are safe. And like, I think you owe it to the anglers that are paying these organizations $40,000 a year to have that platform, to be on TV, to be on live stream, so they know what they need to do, especially as we head into the last 2-3 events of the season for each one of these tours. Like, if I'm in that category, I want to know, do I have to swing for do I need 3 top 10s in order to gain enough points to stay on, or 3 top 50s going to do it for me. And these guys don't know, which is crazy to me at the top level, but it has to exist. And it totally exists because there is a point system, because at the end guys get cut and guys don't. I just don't know why that can't be made more clear to not only the fans, so we can follow our favorite anglers and root them on, or the anglers, so they know that their strategy needs to be based on maintaining their position on one of these top 2 levels. Like I said, not a slight to either organization, not a slight to any of the anglers in that position, just a recurring problem over the last couple years, especially since things have kind of settled down for the meantime since the split. Like I said, we're going to the 65 next year for the BPT. The Elite Series is been pretty consistent as to relegating anglers, and I expect to hear something new within the next month when it comes to Bassmaster Elite Series, or Bassmaster Open EQ for the 2025 season, and kind of a landing ground for some of those anglers that are in no man's land who still want to be Elite Series anglers, still have sponsor support or funding to continue to want to fish without having to go back to the Open. So just a personal take on that. So that's all we got for today. I wasn't really sure how that was going to turn out, and it actually was a fantastic show. A lot of genuine smiles and good feelings. And Fred Roumbanis, hard pressed to find anyone who would have anything bad to say about that guy in the industry for as long as he's done it. One of the most well-liked guys, and he's done a lot for me. He's done a lot for other people in the industry, and truly one of the good guys in the sport. So, all right, we will talk to everybody tomorrow. That's all we got for today. See ya.